Anybody, you need a bathroom break, Dave? You got to step out real quick.
I'm good, brother. Thank you.
Okay.
Love you.
I just look, at the end of the day, man, your comfort is my top priority.
I know, man. Thank you.
Okay.
He's a very
All right.
needy bastard, Keith.
Hey, everybody, it's Shit Talk Reviews. Thank you for joining us. As always, I'm John. We have Derek and David in the house, and we are very, very psyched. We have a special guest with us today. This guy has been an icon in the Boston area for just about as long as there has been a hardcore scene there. He's played bass and put vocals down for metal, hardcore, thrash, punk, metalcore bands from PanzerBastard, Ramallah, Wrecking Crew, Casket Rats, and is now fronting the powerhouse band Death Ray Vision. And somewhere in there, I don't know when, and we'll have to find out, he actually found time to pick up an acoustic guitar and do some melodic stuff for some audiences as well. So with that said, I introduce you to Mr. Keith Edward Leo Kirby Bennett.
Gentlemen, hello.
Nice.
Hi, everybody.
Hey, man. Thanks so much, man. We are real psyched to have you here. We're huge fans of the record. It is a killer. And we're all excited to talk with you about it.
Cool, man. Well, I'm happy to do this, man. This means a lot to me. So game on.
I guess take us back to the beginning, man. What was the first band that you were in that you consider a real band? Maybe not that you necessarily recorded with, but that you played some shows with and you worked hard at.
Oh, well, that was Wrecking Crew. Wrecking Crew was my first band. Before there was a Wrecking Crew, that the few people who know we existed. Before that, there was a very short-lived Wrecking Crew when me and Ralph D'Annunzio, who was also in what was known to be like the world ignored Wrecking Crew, was we were 15 and we started a band and we called it Wrecking Crew, but it lasted maybe a year. We played 3 shows and like we had one riff songs, and it wasn't any kind of like cool thing like Vaughn or Swans, or it was like we were just trying to rip off GBH, and we had songs be like that was it. That was the song, and we had about seven songs, and that was short lived. We broke up, and then the drummer beat me up, and then like 2 years later, what became known as the first Mach 1 or whatever Wrecking Crew that started. We were just turned 16, 17, and we started, and that was the first band that did anything where like put out a 7-inch, a record, couple of comps, a little bit of touring, and playing some big shows. So yeah. Wrecking Crew is my first like go at a real band.
And that was 86, 87? Is that right?
Yeah, I'd say started around 86, 87. Our prime years were like 88 to 91.
Derek, you're a resident Boston guy.
Well, I used to be. Now I live with you guys down here in Hillbilly, Florida.
Well, look, that's not my fault. I didn't force you to come down here. So it feels like an attack. Is all I'm saying. Well,
I am attacking you. I had to come down here. So listen, now that we're down here in Hillbilly, Florida, I miss Boston. I miss the music scene. I was up there from 99 to 2016. And the question I had for you is, who are some of your favorite bands and what's your favorite experience that you remember from the scene in Boston? Because I don't think that unless you've lived in the area, you really understand how powerful the music scene is there.
Oh man. Are we talking like any kind of music, or are we talking about specifically hardcore?
Well, we try to go everywhere metal. So let's keep it in the heavy spectrum.
Okay. Well, so with hardcore, obviously it was SSD Control. Anything that you hear, the legends are all true. They're one of the few bands that SSD were just gods, but I mean that whole wave of original and hardcore was just huge. There was SSD, Jerry's Kids, Negative Effects, DYS, the FUs, Proletariat, Last Rites, Gangrene, the Freeze. I mean, there were Gangrene. It was just a beautiful time. And the thing is, I am not like first wave. I am not a day one Boston hardcore guy. I'm old as shit. I'm 53, but I came in the 3 to 4 years after that. Like, I mean, I had heard of these bands. I had their records, But I mean, I wasn't at Gallery East busting heads. I started going to shows at the Channel, at the Paradise. My first hardcore show was in 1983. So I was at the tail end. Like I came in right before a lot of the bands started going metal. Like right before, I'd say maybe like the year before. Like when the FUs changed to Straw Dogs, before DYS's second record, right when SSD got Francois, the second guitar player, before they put out How We Rock and Break It Up. Like I came in that period right before the shift. But I was still like growing up in Boston. Boston always had amazing, even our commercial radio stations were fairly groundbreaking. And just being where I lived in the city, I grew up 5 blocks down the street from the Rat in Kenmore Square, which is like our version of Stevie G's. I'd ride my BMX bike up to buy comic books at the newsstand next to the Rat. So I saw my first punk rocker when I was 7 or 8 years old. So Boston was always very fertile, and you didn't really have to look very far. Like there was 2 papers. There was one called Sweet Potato, and then later it was Boston Rock. I got a copy of Sweet Potato because there was a picture of Aerosmith on the front of it, and there was a contest to win Joe Perry's guitar. I had never heard of this magazine. I just saw it. It was at a newsstand next to my mother's office down in Park Square, down on Arlington Street, and I just saw Aerosmith. Like I was 7, and I was into Kiss, Aerosmith, Black Sabbath, and Cheap Trick, and I'm like, oh, Aerosmith. And then I get it home and I'm on the subway and I'm looking through. It wasn't just bands I never heard of. These were all bands from where I live and clubs that I would walk by that I didn't even know were nightclubs at the time. So a lot of the people in my head that were rock stars to me were people I could see on the subway. You know what I mean? Like they were very hands-on. So it kind of fostered a lot of that this life was doable. It was attainable. So sorry, I'm babbling. So
no, you're great.
Sorry. So obviously like that first wave of Boston hardcore bands, as far as shows,
think about what was the most rowdy that you can remember, because I got to tell you, when I moved down to Boston in 99, and I grew up in Vermont, and I went to college in Vermont, got a job. And I went to some of the early Overcast shows, some Blood for Blood shows, Slapshot. And it was eye-opening how violent it was. I mean, people were hurt, and the pit kept going. And what's the most rowdy experience that you can remember of the area? Because I think it's amazing. And I will and I say this to anybody who will listen. I don't know how many times I went down, but there's 10 sets of hands right there to pick you back up, dust you off, and get you back in there. And that's something that I haven't seen in other scenes across the country.
Yeah, well, I mean, we're a very Jekyll and Hyde city. We fucking hate you even if we love you, and we'll love you. Well, we won't love you if we hate you. As far as violence and shit going buck wild, I mean, Boston's always had a very, I wouldn't say it was always violent, but it was always real aggro. It was very, very, very physical, very intense. The violence, I think, came in later. You know what I mean? Like it was never, like I said, I can't speak for that first wave, but even the first wave, like SSD, Al Baril, Boston Crew, Wolfpack, they were taking it. Like they were proud of the city. Like you'd go out of town, and I mean, speaking as a second wave or maybe third wave hardcore kid, we had a reputation, and it wasn't sort of a reputation of being dicks, but it was a reputation of like, if Boston's in that pit, if you're in another city and you're from Boston, you're dancing, people are going to know. And the violence, that kind of came, to me, that came across like, nationwide, obviously stemming on the East and West Coast. I mean, like the East Coast, it was definitely, I think, more of an organic thing. With the West Coast was always weird because you had insane gang dynamic. Like, before there were hardcore crews, there were like real fucking gangs, in West Coast, especially in California, like, Orange County, LA, you'd hear about like, the Lads and Circle One and the Suicidals before there was even suicidal tendencies. But in Boston, I can't think of any one specific hardcore show because, it always was like Boston was it still is like, it's an intense place. So shit was always, if things were going well, shit was popping off. If things were going bad, shit was popping off.
Right.
It's just kind of depended on your mood. The one show that I really will never forget was a show I wasn't even attending. I would have attended if I wasn't working. I was working security at the Channel, a club that's gone now, Slayer. Slayer were playing they did, I think, 7 club shows right before Seasons in the Abyss came out. They called it a week in the Abyss.
Jesus.
I mean, they're playing venues they had no place playing. They were like, they could have played easily 10 times bigger venues, and they had been. So this was just like, this is a joke. They're not playing there. It's like, this is real. People were there the night before. But Slayer, that show was the most, actually, there's 2 Slayer shows. There was that show, the channel, Working. It was warfare. Like when I say it was warfare, it was absolutely warfare, because like, as you guys know, most people watching or listening know, Slayer brings out its own fucking breed. Like, I mean, you're going to have the people, the usual suspects, but then you see people you're never going to see unless Slayer plays again. And it's just fucking, the minute those lights go down before they hit the stage, there is a palpable air of violence, a menace. And so besides the channel show where I was, and I'm lucky I was in the barricade, and it was still fucking hairy in the barricade. I had that shit yanked off. I had a bunch of piercings. I had that shit yanked off my face while I'm working. But the other show was Slayer at Axis, and that was a battleground. And there was probably the alley into Axis is where we'd load in and out the gear, and would keep some of the vehicles stashed. That looked like triage. That straight up looked like triage from a war zone. It was fucked. But those are the 2 memorable ones. But as far as just like something Boston centric, there honestly are like too many. That's just the nature of our city, of our town.
Agreed. So Mike D, I'm sure you go back with him a ways. How did you run into him that led to Death Ray Vision?
That wasn't through Mike. That was through Pete Cortese. Pete and I had probably, this is going 50, maybe even closer to 20 years ago now. In Boston, there had been a tradition for years and years and years when Halloween was coming up that guys from different bands would get together to do like not necessarily a tribute band, but like you'd get guys from Convergent Doom Riders with guys from other bands, and they're going to play Danzig 2 front to back, stuff like that. Like they're guys some bands get together and do Turbo Negro. But like, I mean, it was across the board. Like you had bands doing Maiden, bands doing Mayhem, Priests, like, people covering the Cro-Mags. Pete reached out to me to do Entombed. We did Wolverine Blues front to back.
Nice.
Me and him, Mike Hubbard from Warhorse, Zach, one of the other original guitar player from Death Ray, Kevin Smith from a band called Carol, and we just had a fucking blast.
Hey, Keith, that was one of my questions for you. Do they still do that Halloween thing in Boston, or is that over now? Or
not too much, man. It's the dynamic in Boston has really, really, really changed. It is like, and I know across the country, between gentrification and then Live Nation just really stamping things out. There's really no middle ground anymore here for mid to small size venues. You're basically looking at basement shows, hall shows, or Live Nation Clear Channel venues with the smallest holds 900. There's really not that, I don't want to sound like some a cranky old man, but it's true. Like that culture that could sustain that, it really isn't here anymore. It's still out there in Worcester. Worcester is a really strong scene, strong independent scene, and the Halloween covers thing is always happening every year in Worcester.
How many fucking great musicians came through that Halloween tribute band stuff that you saw? That must have been insane.
Well, it was, but it was, you don't look at it in the moment. It's just fun. Do you know what I mean? Because it's just, you get a chance to jam with people that, you might not necessarily have known, but you always thought they were great players. And it's like, holy shit, this is, there'd be one guy in charge. I mean, it's not like this was an organized thing. Like there'd be a meeting and you're going to get this and you're going to get that. But, it was just what we all did. But, as with any band, cover band or not, like there's going to be one person who's the mover and the shaker, the catalyst. And, when somebody would reach out to you and like, oh, who else are you thinking of? Oh, I got this guy's good. No fucking way. Are you kidding me? What if they say yes? And it was really fun to like see what would happen, like what people would come up with. And it was also nice to just not have to worry about anything. That it was like you were off the hook. It wasn't like, well, fuck, it's like, well, their set's running late. And, it's like, well, fuck, we have no room to set up merch. Like all that petty bullshit. It was one night. And it's also, I mean, like, dude, if you're a metal or a punk, Halloween is the greatest night of the year. So if like you got the greatest night of the year happening already and you get to do that, it's like, if you're being an asshole on that night, or you can't have a good time on that night, you shouldn't even go outside ever, man.
I would be curious to see how many bands formed out of that. How many guys actually got together and went on to form some bands out of that jam session.
I not directly, but I mean, they're definitely. I mean, I can think off the top of my head at least half a dozen that, you know, people got together initially through that. I mean, fuck, I wouldn't be singing for Death Ray if it wasn't for those Halloween gigs, man.
Yeah, it's crazy.
So how did it go? So Pete reached out, and then what was the path from there to get you where you are now?
So when he reached out to me, how much of this backstory do you know? Do you know about like that? I didn't know it was Death Ray Vision.
Yeah, I read that.
We knew that.
Yeah. So Pete called me, and he was like, "Hey, I know you have a million things going on. How do you feel about 1,000,001?" I'm like, "What's up?" He's like, "We're looking for a singer." Actually, I think he might have even said, "I'm looking for a singer. Got a bunch of new songs. Would you be interested?" I love Pete, you know, and I was like, "Fuck yeah, man, of course." And it was at least 2 months because it was still during the very tail end of lockdown. So he'd email me stuff, and then I'd like a song or two at a time, and I'd come up with lyrics, melodies, things like that. And then I would take the commuter rail out to where Chris Rosati, our other guitar player, lives. And everybody except for me lives outside of Boston, closer to Worcester. So I'm not even on the subway. I'm on the fucking commuter rail. But it was great because I could just sit there with my earbuds and a notebook and, you know, just work on things, you know, not cram, but like just refine shit and go over, even make use of my time on these long commutes. So I get out there, and Chris has a studio in his house. You know, technology is great now. I mean, we're doing this, you know, everything can be done on a box this big. And Chris has a great setup in his house. And I would go in, and I mean, not only is he technically brilliant, but he is just an absolute genius with vocal melodies and harmonies. And he just really, like, you know, would offer me suggestions and like give me a lot of valuable input. And you know, it was working. And so, you know, I'd go out there on a weekend, like they did send me something, and then they'd give me a week or two to work on it. Then I'd go to Chris, we'd record it, then he'd send it to the guys. I'd get notes. This, you know, this works, this doesn't, we like this style, we're thinking more this. How about this? We'd go back and forth. And then, you know, as soon as everybody was happy with what I was doing on one particular song, we'd move to the next. And probably 3 months into it, I knew this was basically like a working audition. And then Pete, you know, one conversation, he was like, "So what do you think, man? How do you feel about being the new singer for Death Ray?" And I was like, "Dude, I don't fucking know, man. I don't know if I got the time." "What do you mean you don't have the time?" I'm like, "Dude." So because I have another band that I'm doing simultaneously with Death Ray's hard rock band called Casket Rats. But I was doing that. That was just forming at the same time I was doing these, you know, audition recordings. So I'm like, "Dude, between Casket Rats and this, I don't know if I could do a third band." And Pete's just cracking up. He's like, "Dude, did you not know that this was Death Ray Vision?" I was like, "No." And you know, the urban myth that is starting to grow is if he had just called me and said, "Hey, buddy, Death Ray's looking for a new singer. Would you be interested?" I would have said thank you, but no thank you.
How come though, Keith? Keith, why would you have done that?
Well, I didn't.
Did you think it was just you couldn't fill the shoes, or what?
Make sure you put him, Dave. Work harder to put him on the spot.
No, this is. I
want to know.
Well, I'll tell you. So I'll tell you. So what happened was the reason I didn't like them, and it wasn't. I never listened to them because when I was first aware of them, it was as a side project for when Shadow Swall and Killswitch had downtime. And like I had more of a connection with Brian from Shadow Swall. He lived in my neighborhood. I was a fan of Overcast. I really liked them, but like Brian I would see a couple of times a week. Like we lived in the same neighborhood. And I was really proud of seeing Shadow Swall, that growth. I never really cared for that sound. That's not like my world, like that Gothenburg at the Gates thing. I don't think it's lame. It's just not, I don't care for it. You know what I mean? But I was happy for him. Killswitch wasn't really on my radar at all. And I never listened to Death Ray because I'm like, well, if it's a side project of two bands I don't fuck with, I'm not really, I didn't have an ear open for it. It wasn't like, oh, fuck these guys. I just didn't have an ear open for it. And then later, I guess, what I'm finding out was the Jeff era was, they had, and I mean, Mike says it, all the time, that they had like, goofy titles for songs, you know what I mean? So I'm like, what are these, like Municipal Waste? And that's a band I don't really like at all. Do you know what I mean? So I'm like, so are these guys like, are they pizza thrash? Or is this like is it a joke? Like, I don't know, but it was nothing like I'm actively hating on. It wasn't in my world. I was like, whatever. So, if he was going to just ask me, do I want to sing for Death Ray? It was one of those things like, it'd be nice to be nominated, but I don't accept this award kind of deal.
So, well, thank God you did, man, because.
Oh, you think, holy shit, man. Sometimes it's very happy that I'm that stupid.
Yeah, man, the album's killer, man. Thank God you did it.
I will say that it's refreshing because there is the little hints of some Kill Switch in there, but you bring out something very unique in that sound and in the band that I wasn't expecting as a longtime fan of Kill Switch and Overcast and Shadows Fall and of Death Ray Vision. And so you're very dynamic in your execution, and there's nothing you can't do. And it makes this album very, very dynamic. And, listen, we'll tell everybody that will listen that this has to be a consideration for Album of the Year for everybody who will listen to it, because it's awesome.
Did I read it right that Chris kind of pushed you into some more melodic singing?
Yeah, I don't think that he pushed me. I think it was definitely more encouraging me. And also, like I just said, his ideas were amazing. I like my whole life, like I like all kinds of music and I love all kinds of metal and singing styles, but there's so much stuff on No Mercy that I've always wanted to do that I've never been able to do. And it's not like it was like, oh, I've been living a lie or any shit like that. Like I've willingly put myself into any box or prison that I've ever been in. That's all on me. But it was just fucking awesome to be able to do this stuff. So it definitely wasn't like a push thing. I think it was more him, giving me the confidence and like being in my corner and also, pushing me, he's like, oh, you could do that better. It's like, and then there'd be other things where it's just like, oh man, I don't want to sound corny. And, he was helping me be fearless.
Can you talk specifically, I'm going to get Howard Stern on you, about what it was that was amazing that he brought out of you? Give us an example of what that is, like from that time recording.
Harmonies. I've never thought of harmonies. Like I love harmonies, but I've never even at my most whatever melodic parts it could be in like in any of my previous bands, and they're few and far between if at all. But I never thought of that. Like for me, like a backing vocal would be, like a gang backing vocal, or just maybe if there was any kind of variant, it would probably be RAR. Like, if I was doing like a straight like D beat or a crust vocal, or like with PanzerBastard, anything I might have doubled would have been black metal. Do you know what I mean? Or lower. It wouldn't be like like that shit. And Chris has an insane ear for that. Chris is a writing machine. Like because he's got the studio downstairs in his house, he just does, like, it seems like he comes up with, just to do it because he's a creative person. Every week he'll just like, and it'll be a genre, even things that like he's not necessarily like about, but he just wants to do it to challenge himself as a musician. And he'll do everything. He'll do programmed drums, keyboards, and like layered vocal harmonies, and they're amazing. And his ear, like, it was nice having that, not only a skilled extra set of ears, but a set of ears of somebody who's also in my corner, who saw stuff in me that I wanted to do. I was hoping I was capable of, but I was, scared, like, or unsure of, and that's what Chris did.
The best friends in the world will build you up and set you free. And that sounds like what happened here. And that's awesome.
Yeah. Well, also, and at the same time, I mean, he would absolutely, he wouldn't let me slide. Like nothing was, well, that'll do. Do you know what I mean? Like it was, you can do better. You can do better. You know what I mean? And it wasn't, and it wasn't like that Ronnie Spector, like egomaniac producer thing. It was just like, it was all like, all of us in the band had eyes on the prize. We just wanted to do the best thing. So, you could be tired, you could be frustrated, you could be pissed off, but we knew no matter what, it was worth it. It was just like, just get through it, man. Take 5 minutes, walk around the block, drink some water, just move on, try another part, come back to this. There's an end game. Like, this is going to be worth it. You know what I mean? We all trusted each other.
Were they like, here, Keith, have at it? Or was it more of a collaboration and you guys did it? Or was it just, here's the music, have at it?
No, it was definitely collaboration because Pete has lyrics for some of those songs. I think maybe 70-30 or 60-40 in favor of your boy. But this isn't me being like gracious PR shit. Like it's a team. It's a team.
Yeah.
So
that stuff that you were working on for 2 months without knowing it was Death Ray, how much of that was on this album?
All of it.
How much? Okay, so it was all of it.
Yeah. Oh yeah. I mean, that's there's songs. There's 2 songs that didn't make it on the record, but there's everything that's on that album was originally like in that 2, 3, 4 month window with
Excellent.
me. Yeah.
I know you were big into the 70s, big 70s rock, Motorhead, UFO. How much of that stuff bleeds over into your current style? Are you thinking about that stuff when you're crafting vocal parts?
Absolutely, because so there's Death Ray, and then the other band that I have, Casket Rats. Like Casket Rats is absolutely 70s, 80s hard rock.
Right.
And,
yeah.
Everything that's been happening in the last 3 to 4 years for me has been very profound, huge life changes, and I've had the second chance to be alive, that I'm doing everything that I always wanted to do to make up for that lost time, because I'm just really like, I do live every day, one day at a time, and I just want to get the most out of it, and to do all these things that I was afraid to do, or maybe I didn't have the right people do it. And nothing against any of my old bands. Like it's just more like just things that I wanted to do that I never got around to do it, and I'm doing it. But I get the rawest I get to be vocally is in some of the really aggressive parts with Death Ray, and it's great because they're even like the raw shit is different than the raw shit that I did previously. And
right.
Casket Rats, like, so with Casket Rats, it's all Ian Astbury, Paul Stanley, Gene Simmons, John Bush, Pepper Keenan, Glenn Danzig, Phil Lynott, Lemmy, those are things. It wasn't like I'm going to try and sound like these guys. This is like the stuff I've been singing along to since I was 8 years old. And then, with Death Ray, I get this chance to I always joke about it. I mean, I can throw out all these different names or whatever like that. And then I would figure 99% of people listening to that record is going to go, oh, you mean Phil Anselmo? Okay, I get it. And I get it. He's one of my favorite singers. But really what I was going for on the parts that weren't, on the less aggro parts, I was trying to channel John Bush. He's been since the 3-song, the first Armored Saint EP, which I bought day fucking one it came out on Metal Blade. John Bush has been one of my favorite singers of any kind of style of music. And when I found you guys and watching that episode, and to hear you guys talk about John Bush and to talk about Anthrax Sound White Noise, I was like, holy fuck, these guys get it, man. It was like that yeah. Honestly, that meant like so much to me, because like that's what it was. Like, it was be like, what would John Bush do? That was my my watermark for the things I was trying.
This is the happiest moment of my journalistic career, because when I heard the Unholy Water, dude, all I heard was, it was not a ripoff of Sound of White Noise. It was an ode. It was taking little samples of it. And I mentioned it. I think, John, you were there before we did the podcast. I mentioned it to you. And I said, I can't put a finger on it. I don't know what it is. And then it hit me. It was Sound of White Noise. And I played it for John in our office. And that was it. And so I'm so happy to hear that. And, it's thrilling. And that's a great album. And John Bush is a wonderful singer that certainly doesn't get enough credit.
Nah, man, it's a fucking shame, dude. It's a crime. It's a fucking crime. But like, at least he's around. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So maybe he's not where he should be, but like, he's still making music, man. He sounds so fucking good.
He does. And I've been actually seeing rumors that they might do something with Anthrax with one of the anniversaries of Sound of White Noise, and he deserves to be able to play that material live.
Let's shift gears here. Let me ask maybe it's a musical related question, maybe it isn't. If things were different and music was not a part of your life, or say it all stopped right now, where would you be? What would you be doing? What would life hold for Keith Bennett?
If it had never been in the equation, or if it wasn't in the equation now, or never, a life without music. Yeah. It was a good chance. I don't know. Like, I mean, I can tell you what, like, my family wanted for me. I was groomed to be either a pro hockey player or a lawyer. And sorry, Ma. And then I mean, I really don't know. I mean, you know, there's that cliche answer is like, I'd be dead, but you know, I probably would be dead. I definitely would have just been, you know, like just a fucking drunk, like just like just a shitty Boston drunken asshole, like just a violent drunken asshole guy, you know. And I'm not even a townie, so to speak, man. I'm from a pretty posh area, but I'd just still be that. I'd be a douchebag, but I'd be a douchebag without a band.
Dave, does that fit your Boston, your view of Boston?
Pretty much.
he's from New Jersey, so there you go.
Take me through your perfect day. Start with like breakfast. What is a perfect day for you?
Wow. Okay, man. A perfect day. Number one, wake up. Breathing.
Always a good start.
I hit my knees. I have a higher power. I call my higher power the Great Spirit. If anybody's worried that I got religion, I keep in mind I have a tattoo of a burning church on the side of my head. So don't too worry about that. I do that. I run. The Harvard Stadium is like right up the street from me. I do anywhere from 1 to 3 miles. Then I come home. I meditate for 10 to 15 minutes. I do a guided meditation. Most days of the week, I go downtown I'm in recovery. I go to a meeting, and that just sets the tone of my day. Walk through the city home. I do my emails, take a nap because I'm a morning guy, but I work nights. Take a nap, and then from 2 to 5, I take a nap. Then on days when it's not music related, around 6, I start getting ready for work, and I get to work around 7, and I work from 7 till like 2 or 3 in the morning. I'm the head of security at a goth club.
Oh, nice.
Fucking great.
Yeah.
Oh, it's fucking great, man. Fucking great. You know, speaking of somebody with an Elvira tattoo, I'm in the right spot. It's fucking.
That's a great gig. Yeah.
And also, like, and to be the head of security, it's like, you know, I've been a bouncer. I've been working in clubs since I was 17. I'm 53 now. So it's a nice kind of like retirement. You know, it's a nice way to end my golden years as a bouncer, because it's a goth club. You know what I mean? It's like, what kind of, you know, gunfight is going to happen at the goth club? You know what I mean? It's like two guys who are wearing the same cape, and they're going to have a slap fight. You know, it's like Azrael, Carmilla, to your corners. You know, it's
my
fine,
God.
dude. So, yeah. And then, you know, on the days where it is music, it's just, we normally work, both my bands, we work in the afternoons, because we like to have fun. We all are really good friends, but especially with Death Rage, our distance from each other, there's really not a whole lot of time to like, you know, like goof around. You know, they're hilarious guys. Like I laugh my ass over them, but you know, there's train schedules and life schedules. There's a lot of fathers. You know, there's a lot of fathers. There's a lot of dads. There's a lot of heavy responsibility that the guy with the face tattoos might not necessarily share. So that's that. And Casket Rats, it's a little bit of the opposite, where, you know, we work hard and we get shit done, but, you know, practice is over, and 3 of us, you know, make their plans of where they're going to go. And this guy, I go home. I go home to my house and my wife, and I'm real cool with that. You know, it's like if I 27 and doing that, I'd be denying myself a lot of adventures. But I've read that book and I've rented that movie thousands and thousands of times. So I just deal with what gives me maximum joy and zero pain.
Dave, it sounds like we need to go to a golf course and give him a run for his money.
Yeah.
No.
Hey, Keith, what position did you play in hockey?
I was left wing,
Nice.
and then when I started getting chubby, fat, they stuck me on defense, and then right around that same time, I got my first Kiss record, which was the first record I ever bought. So I'm looking at Terry O'Reilly, and I'm like, well, Terry O'Reilly's really cool, but this guy breathes fire and spits blood and sings about fucking women in the ladies' room. I think this guy wins. So
Yeah.
When's the last time you put skates on?
Shit, probably 11 or 12, but I keep putting it off. So hopefully this winter I will, because I miss it. Like my whole thing was like I loved sports. Like I just didn't like jocks. You know what I mean? Like I think I hear that a lot with guys in bands, that it wasn't so much like, like sports were fucking fun. It's just like I hated the jocks. And also like growing up down the street from Kenmore Square, like, I could walk to Fenway Park. I could get to Fenway Park in 10 minutes. And it was awesome. But then 12 started dipping my toe and hanging out in the hardcore and the punk scene in Kenmore Square. And, being 12 years old and like, you just seeing, you want to talk about violence, man. There was so much shit going on because that's where we'd all hang out, in front of the Rat, in front of Pizza Pad and Nemo's and Nuggets Records. And, before and after the Red Sox games, it was just war, because the Kenmore Station T-stop was right in front of the Rat. So you'd have thousands of these towny and suburban fucking douchebags pouring out. And, there's anywhere from 5 to 50 of us out there. And it's like, yeah, you fucking queer, fucking freak, fucking, nice fucking, and it would just be on, you know what I mean? And so it's like, that just like, it would absolutely, it's kind of the thing where like, you hate a band because of their fans. It's like, I was hating sports because of people going to see sport, like the people who go to see sports, that culture. I fucking, yeah.
Especially hockey when you're a kid, because I played. It's a fucking dog and pony show. The parents fucking ruin it for everybody, especially in that sport. They're all nuts. Yeah.
Here's a question for you. We are more than likely going to be hopping a plane and coming up to Boston for your show in September.
Awesome.
Can we get skates on you and Dave and let the two of you go at each other on a rink somewhere?
I don't know,
because our boy Dave, he contends that he plays hockey, but we have no evidence of this.
Man, I would be down. I'd be down. I mean, dude, I don't want to drop the gloves, man.
Yeah, Keith looks like a grinder, man. He looks like he'd fucking take me out in the corners or something. So I don't know.
I don't know. But listen, I would love to do that, because I was gonna say, if you guys come up, man, like I've never, growing up here, like I've never driven a car in my life. But like I love taking people from out of town. I love taking people on my little, like my own walking tour of Boston, man. Like bring all like the few record stores that are left. Like I can show you like cool like spots. Like Boston's a beautiful city. It's a walking city. There's a lot of people stuck here, and it's getting gentrified, but there's still a lot of beautiful stuff. I'd love to take you guys around. And
that would be awesome. Yeah.
And listen, Dave, if you're down, I'm down. Like I think that would be hilarious, man. Like to just throw some skates on and like, kind of pass the puck around. Like I'd be up for that in a heartbeat.
I'd be an honor to do that with you for sure.
Same, man. Fucking same, dude. All right.
I have some buddies in the area. We will get some ice time.
Fuck yeah. Awesome, man.
Last question, and then we can let you get on with your day. What do you have coming up? Is there anything that you can reveal in terms of touring, anything that you've been recording, anything that we have to look forward to?
No.
Okay.
So with Death Ray, we're we work around the kill switch window, which it's just it's the positive and negative thing, because obviously the kill switch brand gets a lot of doors open for us that might not necessarily have gotten open, but in our defense, I think they would have quickly closed if we didn't deliver the goods. But
right.
It comes with a price, and that price is Mike is a busy boy. So I really don't know what's up. Like I only know that the next show after the September weekend is the end of October, and that's a one-off. So I don't know what's going on. I mean, like, I got my passport. I'm ready to go. I'm not convicted of any felonies in any countries. I can travel anywhere in the world, and I'm ready to go. Casket Rats. We have an EP that's about a year and a half old. That's available on all like platforms. But next week we are finishing the full length, and we'll be shopping it. We're definitely not going to put it out ourselves. Sorry. We're shopping that. We're recording that. It's all analog, and we're recording that with Alex Garcia Rivera from American Nightmare. In his studio, all analog, and we're having a good time doing that. So no matter what, the end game is to just be as busy as humanly possible. But I mean, I don't know what it is, but both bands will be, unless we're dead, we'll be really, really busy in 24.
Nice.
Excellent.
That's awesome. Well, I do have one more question before we let you go.
All right.
And that is, I'm curious to know if there's a chance of bringing Fast as a Shark back.
Damn, you are good. Yeah. Well,
Am I wrong?
No, you're not wrong. Well, it was Shark because of Fast as Shark. Yeah, because I mean, that was 1983. So like, this was well before like the Hot Topic bands, had like the long, so no, it was a Shark, but fuck yeah. I actually was talking to the Death Ray guys about covers, and I mentioned Fast as a Shark. Like we talked about Only Living Witness, Fast as a Shark, Agnostic Front. Yeah, I mean, so obviously, like I'd rather do like original stuff, but like that is definitely like that is definitely like not outside the realm of a possible thing happening, man.
Very good.
Yeah.
Oh, and again, I hate to keep saying there's one more, but I was curious what your musical guilty pleasure is. Do you have any?
I want to say no. I'm proud of like everything, but the one that really I get the most shit for is Him. I fucking love Him. I just fucking love that band, man. Love that band. I have way more belly than abs, but I have a heartogram. I have a heartogram tattoo on my gut, like, and it's right below my agnostic front and Venom. I got Venom, Sanhate, agnostic front, Chroma, and then right below that is my heartogram. So that kind of sums up me.
Nice. Well, hey man, cannot thank you enough for coming and hanging out with us, man. This has been a real treat for us.
No, me too, man. And like, honestly, stumbling upon you guys was a very, very happy accident. And I really, and I know I speak for everybody in the band, really, really appreciate the fact that you guys like the record, and your support means so much, man.
We love it.
I'm a huge fan. I'm a huge fan, Keith. Love it. Love what you're doing. Love the band. Your fucking vocals are amazing. And I wish you the best. And I can't wait to see you guys live. Cannot wait.
Well, I hope this is really going to happen. You guys come up and because we got enough going on here in the city that we can make your stay a really fun, really like well-rounded shit, dude. I think we'll have a fucking blast.
Well, hey man, I hope you have a great rest of your day, a fucking fantastic weekend, and look forward to what's coming next from the band and seeing you guys up in Mass.
All right, I'll see you in Boston, motherfuckers.
Thanks, Keith. Appreciate it, man.